Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Underdog Racing League. It's the truck series here. We're 2 races away from this season being over, and the admins are already calling it that of Jason Finsler. Going to be looking like he's going to be our truck champion, which, with no surprise, he has been dominating week in and week out. But before we get to more of the racing action here at Michigan to finish out this season, we've got to give a huge thanks to ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. ButtKicker has been amazing at making you, the gamers, or you as the customers, feel instead of just hear. Feel the rumbles of the V8 engines. Feel the rumbles of explosions from what you're watching to what you're playing. Thank you so much for ButtKicker for sponsoring us at Freaky Fast. Use the promo code FreakyFast20, that's Freaky with 2 E's, on your purchases, and you will get 20% off at the purchase for a ButtKicker. Go buy your gamer too. Feel what you've been missing. My name is Sam Dyer, and with me is Hunter Hayward. And Hunter, we're here at Michigan. More of a difficult super speedway that the driver's going to be handling, but it certainly is going to be a show for us to watch.
Almost definitely today, Sam. It's in the trucks here in Michigan. I know the draft is super, super crucial, and aerodynamically, the truck is so important at a track like this that we're definitely going to see leaders not pulling away too hard, especially with a fixed setup lead. But it's definitely going to be interesting pack type racing, especially with really strong draft, and it can be anybody's race from start to finish.
It really can be. As you can see, practice still underway for the drivers here, but a lot of fun to be seen. Hunter, I mean, here at Michigan, like I said, it's a little bit of a more difficult super speedway. What makes Michigan so different from some of the other 2 mile courses?
I would say that unlike other racetracks, this track is definitely more middle groove dominant. As you can see, for some drivers running their line at practice, where the rubber is built in and where the driving line is the best is in the middle of the track, rather than most drivers you see running the bottom at a racetrack like Auto Club and other 2 mile tracks. This one's usually more towards the top and not towards the wall, but mainly in the middle groove. So you'll see most drivers using that middle groove, and sometimes later in the run moving up to the top trying to get clean air to their nose in the corner. Also, this one really hard on your right front tire, and it's really easy to burn up your tires like other tracks. So keep in mind for drivers burning up their stuff early in the run and maybe falling towards the back later in the run.
Finsler still up front. Baker, one of the drivers that was trying to hunt down Finsler during the playoffs. As this playoffs was very interesting from some of the other playoffs that we've had. It was 6 races for our top 10 in points to battle against one another to see who was going to be the most consistent. And no surprise, it was Jason Finsler who, looking at the reports, we have been given it. Jason Finsler is your official trucks champion here this season. And, with tonight's race and then Atlanta next week, it was no surprise to see that the 5 was up front with all the wins he's had. Also, a huge shout out as tonight's race is the Earhart Group 180 for this series. And thank you for sponsoring tonight's race. Now, Hunter, I know you had to hop in a little bit late for this one. I know the field is much smaller than what we usually have seen, but with this smaller group, do you think that this is going to be a factor for the draft or any strategies possibly?
I wouldn't see strategy being a huge factor in this race, especially with only a 15 pack field. But we're definitely going to see one pack mainly in this race, since it's not a very big field for tonight's race, especially at a track that's kind of Daytona style racing, especially with this package in the truck. So I think the strategy is just going to be on uh, what the leader chooses and what every other car follows. So I think drafting partner is so important at a track like this, and I think whatever the leader does, everyone behind him will follow.
You saw on the times there, it was very close, but it's time for qualifying. Driver's going to be having 5 minutes to put down the best times possible within 2 laps. So a lot of drivers we're going to be seeing trying to set themselves up here for qualifying. Hunter, we've seen at Daytona or Talladega drivers starting high and being high for the first warm-up lap to sometimes even their first lap to try to build up that speed. Does that same strategy kind of work in here, or do you think it's try to put down your best lap for both of those first and second lap?
Yet again, Sam, I mean, most drivers all have different mindsets for qualifying. Some drivers like to have you run up right up against that wall, trying to just have that warm-up lap, like you mentioned for lap one, gaining speed that whole time and then setting a burner lap for their second. Some drivers like to just set down 2 hot laps and see which one they can have faster. For this one, I would probably see drivers using that middle groove for the first lap, get their speed up, get their tires, or get heat into their tires, and then run all the way down to that bottom yellow line just to get as much speed as they can into the corner and on exit. Not trying to burn off or try not to scrub off as much speed as they can, but some drivers, like to set down 2 hot laps and see which one is faster, and some drivers just like to have a warm-up lap, get the tires as warm as possible as they can, and just set the burner lap for their second.
See here, the 33, Justin Stunnard, another one of those drivers that was in our playoffs, trying his best to finish out the season with some strength, running the DraftKings machine. Top of the board, though, it's going to be Kevin Orlando Jr. with Ian Baker going to be on top. A couple of these other drivers that, with the smaller field gives them a better shot of possibly a better finish. Looking at the driver in third place currently, that of John Magner. Magner is one of the drivers that we haven't really seen too much strength from the 15 on race pace, but a couple of the playoff races, we've seen the 15 have some good qualifying runs. We're seeing it right now, third place currently, and also Justice Murphy, another great qualifying truck in fourth at the moment. But again, drivers finishing out their second lap. A lot of speed to be seen here, and maybe some shuffling, as only a total of 11 drivers have qualified so far. But Baker stealing Orlando Jr.'s pole position away, and Eddie Waldermouth up to second. What a surprise for the 81.
And Sam, looking at the temperatures for today's race, 79 degrees and clear out, so no cloud cover we're going to see today to make the track a little bit cooler. But 79 degrees, yet the track temp is almost 125 degrees, sitting at a track temperature of 123. So definitely a very hot and slick track today. Winds southwest of 9 miles an hour right now, so we might see a little bit of a cooler track later in the race, but right now a track temp of 120 plus is going to be hot and slick, and definitely with other cars with dirty air, we might see some cars slipping and sliding.
Slipping and sliding, also a chance of tire wear being going down a lot quicker for these drivers. That is another factor we got to watch out for. As you see here, your trucks champion, the 5, Jason Finsler, he's putting down his times. I got to say, for the 5, finishing out the season strong, and there really wasn't any question about it. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, tied his having 12 wins out of 24 starts, a 50% percentage he had for the season at one moment for wins. I mean, have you ever seen a driver be this dominant in a series ever before, Hunter?
I cannot say that. No, I mean, 50% win average is unbelievable for a driver. I mean, fans out there, I don't think you realize how crazy that actually is to say. I mean, thinking about just being so dominant in the league, I mean, not only that, but avoiding wrecks, hitting your marks every single week, hitting your best, your worst tracks. I mean, winning every weekend out at least. I mean, that's every 2 races he goes to. I mean, he wins at least 1. That's unbelievable for a driver, and very impressive for how he can keep a streak going like that. And as Sam mentioned, that's our league champion for this truck series. So very, very impressive for that 5 truck. And on top of the board right now, in that first position, running a 40.35. So very impressive for Jason Finsler, trying to add another win to that win streak.
Try and do that as well. And some of the other drivers trying to, with smaller field, they're better chances of top 5 finishes. Most notable driver I think we cheered on the most had to be Matt Job and the 89, currently 4th on the board. We really cheered that driver on at Pocono when he got his first top 5 of the season. It was a lot of hard work. He finally got it done at the end of the regular season. But we saw there our Talladega winner of Marshall Wilson into pit road, but it is time for some hard racing action here at Michigan. 90 laps we're getting prepared for, as here is your starting lineup. It's going to be Jason Finsler, Ian Baker, and Eddie Waldermouth, your top 3, with Matt Job, Kevin Orlando Jr. finishing out your top 5, with Justice Murphy, Parker Johnston, as well as John Magner, Marshall Wilson, and Justin Stunnard, your top 10. Dylan Waldermouth, as well as that of Christopher Height, Trevor Earhart, as well as Michael Leo Jr., Scott Kerberg, and Dennis Steele, finishing out your drivers here. And with the small field that we have so far, expecting there not to be too many cautions for this series, and with not a lot of cautions, means strategy could be a factor for these drivers. Looking at this field, though, I've got to say this 5 machine has to be the favorite. But Hunter, do you think that there is a possible chance if this race goes green that fuel strategy runs could be a factor? Because it seems like Michigan, Kansas, Chicagoland, sometimes you see those tracks on the schedule and immediately think of fuel strategy runs to win races.
Yeah, most definitely, Sam. And I mean, strategy is so important at races like this, and strategy is what easily wins you a race, especially on fuel mileage. And 180 mile race today, only 90 laps, but at Michigan, this is definitely a very easy track to save fuel and be able to make it a one-stop. It'll be very impressive if a driver can make it a one-stop. Two 45 lap runs on fuel is stretching it a lot, especially in a truck at a 2-mile track. So it'll be very interesting to see if some drivers can try to stretch it out if this race stays green on 2 45 lap fuel strategy, and it's going to be interesting to see what drivers do, especially, I mean, 3 sets in the pit, so I don't think the drivers are going to be using all 3 sets only in a 90 lap race at a track like this, but it'll be interesting to see what the strategies these drivers pull tonight.
Excitement in the air. We already did your rundown. Now the drivers are starting to take off and roar onto the racing surface. This is going to be a fun one here tonight. Again, my name is Sam Dyer. With me is Hunter Hayward. And in the production chair, giving us all these amazing camera shots and graphics, it's Robert Moyer up behind the curtain. And Hunter, I know Jason's got to be the favorite, and I know you haven't really been watching this series too much, but is there any driver you just got a weird sense about that you feel like could have a good day today?
Noticing that you had a pretty good reaction for that 81 of Eddie Wildermuth, I gotta go with him, man. You had a very just an exciting feeling that he was qualifying up in the second row and third position right now. I'm gonna have to go with him. I mean, I got a good feeling that he's gonna have a great finish today, and why not do it any better than Michigan? We're a great track where this can be anybody's race.
Absolutely. I mean, this driver for Eddie Wildermuth in the 81, he's been having some very poor luck recently. He's had a couple of good qualifying runs, but the finishing positions have not been there for himself. But here tonight, a lot of action, a lot of excitement as we are going through 3 and 4. Pace lights are off. We're going this time by. We already can crown our champion. That is going to be Jason Finsler for the Underdog Racing League Truck Series. Congratulations to Jason Finsler for that. But it's time to see who's going to win here at Michigan for the Earhart Group 180. We are green as we wait and see for the drivers. Are already seeing the outside line getting a little bit out of shape. My Michael Leo Jr. just did not get going. He stays in the back, but up front, it's the 88 of Ian Baker and Jason Finsler to his inside.
Looks like Finsler's going to clear that outside spot, and now he's going to be all clear around coming in and exiting 2. Still get that trouble to 88 on his rear, but it looks like he's going to be clear going into 3 and 4. Looks like the driver's starting to get single filed out already, entering 3. Looks like drivers are going to be a little bit more conservative going into this race. It's going to be interesting to see what moves these drivers are going to be pulling off in these next couple of laps.
Driver's going to be side by side, battling back in 8th place, but coming out of turn number 4, leading the first lap here tonight, it's going to be Jason Finsler in the 5, and we're expecting to see this for the first, 5 to 20 laps, drivers staying in line. But after about 5 laps or so, I think we might be seeing some drivers up front, if they have not been saving their tires, start to drop back, and those in the middle part of the field, if they have been careful saving those tires, they can really make a charge forward. As tire conservation going to be one of the key factors here, as you're already seeing the 81 thinking about poking his nose out, but just no space for himself as Baker continues to wait and linger in 2nd place.
And Sam, as you mentioned, tire conservation is so important. You see the 88 slide up the track a little bit. Now going to get a chance for the 81 of Wildermouth to go down. and be side by side going in 1 and 2. That's going to be a great thing that Finsler wants to see in his mirror. But as you said, I mean, tire conservation is so important here, and I think Finsler's in a perfect spot right now in the clean air, rather than the drivers in dirty air right now. And dirty air is so brutal on the nose of a car at a track that tire conservation is so important. Like the 81 of Wildermuth, if he's going to stay in the bumper of the 5, that dirty air is going to pick up the nose a little bit, take away the downforce on the nose of the car that it needs to be able to give it turn, thus making it harder on the right front tire and burning up the tires a little bit more. That's what the 5 wants to see, since that's not happening to the nose of his car. But right now, the 81 putting pressure on the leader of Finsler. He's going to look high, but he's going to stay right behind him. Now looking low, trying to take the lead going into 1.
Eddie Wildermouth really putting the pressure on. As you also see, Matt Jobe going to be putting himself down into 3rd position, as this is a great charge for the 89, who is one of the drivers coming into the playoffs and needed to have a good help against his nose of absolutely chopped off by Ian Baker. He is hoping that doesn't happen again, because calamity could happen. Luckily, these drivers have some solid spotters that are telling them when they're clear, and a lot of trust being given at that moment.
Yeah, and the same as you see throughout all the field. I mean, drivers trying different lines, bobbing and weaving, inside and outside. I mean, the 81, you see him drop back in the corners and let Finsler push it a little bit deeper into the corners, and then he catches up to him in the straights. I think the 81 is just playing a game of cat and mouse with the 5 right now, trying to see what he can do and what moves he can make later in the run.
Possibilities are endless. As Ian Baker hard into the outside wall, the 88, he's just losing ground. You just need one little scuff up to another one. It just compounds, and Ian Baker, him getting stuck on the wall, is dropped all the way back and continues to fall back to 11th place, and might even lose more positions. That damage, I mean, it looked small. Some of those hits were hard. A little of them were just little taps, but Hunter, it looks like that damage could be deadly if he's not able to get it repaired soon.
Oh, for sure, and especially at a track like this where aerodynamics is so important, and the draft is what keeps you up there. I mean, if it's any damage to the and we got it. Oh, the Finsler turns the 81.
Eddie Wildermouth goes
and
around. Finsler drops back. Oh my goodness. Caution number 1 starts with our leaders making contact, and they all woe up, and it's Matt Jobe up front. But Hunter, you saw it up front. Oh my goodness.
Oh man, looking back at the freaky fast replay, or freaky fast carnage like Lee Tidwell likes to call it, looks like looks like Finsler got the run off the corner that he wanted. Oh man, I just think, yeah, I mean, it looks like a love tap for my views. I mean, it looks like the 5 thought he was clear to go down to the inside of the 81. Wasn't really clear, and had the 81's bumper on his right front nose. Goes around, and tough break for that 81 today, having such a good run and taking the lead early in the race.
Taking the lead early was Eddie Wildermouth, and in a blink of an eye, he's in trouble. Also, Jason Finsler, because he was up front when the yellow was thrown, he gets to stay up front, but you saw that he was dropping back quite quickly. Oh man, this is when things get a little bit interesting, because we were green for 5 laps there. 5 laps of green flag racing can obviously give these drivers a tendency to think of maybe getting some fresh tires, because if you get freshies, you are going to be running a lot faster than the rest of the field, but also got to worry about how many tires you have left in pit road.
Yeah, and we see the number 13 of Justin Stannard going down, or 33, sorry about that, fans. Yeah, and in multiple cars following it, it'll be interesting to see what the 33 does. Maybe just trying to top off on fuel and stay out a little bit longer for fuel strategy. But maybe he's taking for Mr. Feelgoods here. 8 laps out on tires. It looks like he goes right through pit road. Maybe he wanted to stay to the back. Interesting call for that 33, but yeah, it's so crucial to have fresh tires. I know, very interesting call for the 33 to go right through pit road. Maybe just wanting to have his own type of EOL without actually having a end-of-line penalty. But I mean, fresh tires at a track like this where it's so crucial on the right front and so hard, I mean, you can definitely see a driver going from last to first on 4 fresh tires.
Absolutely. As coming into pit road, We had that of Stunnard, who just blew by his pit stop. Then you had that of Christopher Heights, Magner, Baker, and Wildermouth coming in, but we're expecting Wildermouth to stay out. You see Dennis Steele, who was marched as 16th. He actually is our race control for tonight, so that's why he immediately did not take the green. He's helping all these drivers get their calls right, and if any penalties need to be served, and it's going to be that of Dennis Steele helping out here late in the season. Big thanks, as it is always so nice to have an actual person running race control and not just, hoping on luck that, some of the sensors can pick up some of these incidences, and also having a real life person, they can go back on the replays and make sure they're giving the right calls.
Yeah, and Sam, looking back at the strategy, what the drivers did coming down to the 21 of Christopher Heights, looking at his pit time and the time he entered and exited his stall, it looks like he didn't take any tires and looks like he just topped off on fuel. Looking for this race to stay green now, having a longer fuel strategy and hopefully trying to make this race only a one stop for him.
A lot of hopes and a lot of question marks now given early into this race, as we only got to go 5 laps green till our first caution came out, with our front two, Jason Finsler and Eddie Wildermouth, making contact. And I touched on it when I saw Eddie have such a great qualifying run, is sometimes the race pace isn't there, and also some luck is not there as well. And you saw for the 81, it just seems like his season continues on with the woes, and nothing much has changed, even though this is our second to last race of the season. Oh boy, Hunter, I mean, early on, some early troubles. And it is exciting for a lot of these drivers up front, because this gives them an opportunity to pick and choose who's going to be out here and having a great run. Again, there are no fast repairs. So for Eddie Wildermouth, that hard contact he got, it's going to take a while for him to get those repairs done. But looks like he's trying to get himself back out there on course, and he is trying to catch up to the end of this field as we're getting ready to go green up front. It's going to be Jason Finsler, Matt Job, Parker Johnson, Kevin Orlando Jr., and Justice Murphy, your top 5. Getting ready to go green here once again. Space car rolls off, green flag in the air, and just like that, Jason Finsler takes off like a rocket ship and already up to 2-3 car lengths ahead of the rest of the field.
Yeah, Finsler having a really great restart right there. Hoping to stay in that cleaner as long as he can. I mean, as you mentioned, Sam, just a really dominant truck all throughout the season. I think Finsler has his mindset of what he's going to do this race, and right now it looks like he's doing a really good job doing it. About 2-3 car lengths clear already, even with the giraffe and cars pushing behind him.
Sometimes when we're at other, super speedways, you question getting that large of a jump early on. Because of the older tires, Finsler able to take off, and some of the other drivers not able to stay with the pace that our leader has. Some of the great racing and driving that's going on right now, side-by-side action for third place. And that's going to be Parker Johnston going up against Kevin Orlando Jr. And then behind them, you've got that of Dylan Walterman, who's thinking about going 3 wide on the outside, just putting his nose there. Got to be careful not to pinch each other up, as almost into the wall was that of the 46. Got to be careful, as they're still side-by-side. Now for fourth place is Walterman and Johnson, who now looks like the 27, Orlando Jr. He's got to be careful where putting that truck. He almost got stuck in the sucker hole.
Yeah, drivers making risky moves early, trying to get as many spots as they can. I mean, Finsler seeing this in his mirror, probably liking it as much as he can, knowing that all this stuff is going behind him while he's up in the leader and in the clean air. Almost 3 wide again, right behind Finsler. Crazy moves being made already early in this race.
Dylan Walterman just loving that outside third, fourth lane. It doesn't really matter where he places it. He feels comfortable on the outside. Matt Job, he's got to be concerned because the 46 is coming with that of steam. Walterman, he won Talladega, a different super speedway where the draft was important, but tires now more important here at Michigan for the longer the run goes on. Well, just like that, it's going to be Dylan Walterman climbing his way through the field. He started in 11th, now up to 2nd.
No looking back for that driver of. Oh man, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting names. I'm pulling in a fill-in spot for Zach, so I'm still learning names, folks. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, he's not looking back, looking for that lead already, trying to put the pressure on Finsler. Um, as you can see, he's using a higher line and trying to get that clean air on those as he can, not being in that dirty air fence.
Dirty air is such a major factor. Now we're seeing back here, it's going to be Michael Leo Jr. Same lane that we were just seeing the 46 use to cut his way through traffic. It's kind of placed yourself where the field isn't currently, as Michael Leo Jr. up to 8th place, but he's got some hard racing action in front of him. He's got Parker Johnson, Kevin Orlando Jr. side by side, and then in front of that is going to be that of Justin Stunnard and Justice Murphy side by side. And now Leo Jr. is going to be worrying about that of Trevor Earhart on his inside, and also Stunnard making some hard racing action as it is everywhere is up front. Dylan Walterman, he's done it. He might clear if he can do the slide job, but here comes Finsler on the outside.
Hard racing for the lead. 46 of Walterman not holding anything back, trying to get down to the apron to keep as much speed as he can. Now going to get the help from the 89 of Job. Going to be really good going into 1 and 2, but now Job's going to start up and go in line with the 5 of Finsler. I think just looking around to see what move he can make, but now really good battle between his 46, 89, and the 5.
Going to be throwing in also that of the 27 who's just lingering and waiting. Here comes Kevin Orlando Jr. He's going to be given a slight bump, though. He decides to go 3 wide, entering turn number 3. Kevin Orlando Jr., he's trying a bold move. He's going to be in the preferred lane, just a groove higher than what you want to be on the yellow line, and that should work out for the 27. We'll see if he has the momentum coming out of turn 4, but currently he went from 4th and almost up to 2nd as they're still 3 wide, currently back for 4th place. They're just keeping it close. Pack racing at its finest.
Almost definitely, Sam. And as you look at what the line, the 5 and the 46 are running right now, Finsler and the 46 of Walterman are choosing an interesting line, almost right up on that wall, really high in the groove, out of where all that traction and rubber is laid in that middle of the groove. Very interesting for the 5, losing some corner speed, but gaining it all back in the straights and having a much better run than the rest of the trucks.
Dylan Walterman understanding how high the 5's going. Going to be trying to go even higher than that, but I think he got a little bit spooked when he got close to that outside wall, had to lift, and that's losing time and ground as still everyone on top of one another. This is a 10-car pack, and you're just seeing the middle of the field still all on top of one another, not giving any space or time for anyone. It's Michael Leo Jr. from nowhere up to 2nd and now almost up to 1st. Here comes the 74 side by side for the lead, coming at 2.
Leo Jr. starting 14th all the way up to 2nd now, doing really, really good, cutting through traffic, trying to put the pressure on Finsler, but 3 wide now from 2nd on to 4th, still applying the pressure as much as they can to Finsler. Walterman's still not holding anything back, trying to put the pressure on the 5. The 5 truck trying to just stay out of their way, trying to pull away as much as he can, but with this draft, Sam, I don't think he's going to be able to pull away as much as he wants to.
3 of our top 4 are drivers that started 10th on and back. Dylan Walterman started in 11th during this race. Mike Leo Jr. started in 14th. Justin Stunnard, who currently is in 2nd place, battling side by side with Michael Leo Jr. and others as they're still 3 wide racing for 2nd place. He started back in 10th. Hard racing, showing that it doesn't matter where you're at. It matters on how you place yourself as the run goes on. 18, about to be 19 laps into this thing. And I gotta say, Jason Finsler has done a fabulous job because he's been the one consistent as everyone else behind him continues to swap positions.
Tell you what, Sam, now here comes the 33, Justin Stunnard, who pitted in this early run, going all the way down to the bottom on that yellow line here. Going to get a really good run in the corner, but not as much in the straights as the 5 will get, as you can tell here. But, I mean, the 33 running through his stall, starting through the back of the pack and already making his way up to 2nd, trying to challenge the lead, and it looks like he's going to take it going into 3 and 4 over the 5 of Jason Finsler.
Finsler understanding the outside lane. It was working for defending for the first 18 laps, but in one fell swoop, it just took Stunnard about 2 laps once he got to 2nd place to finally set up the 5. But here comes that run that Finsler continues to get. He's right on the back bumper of the 33. And it looks like Stunnard, he's just going to be blocking, running the same exact line, and see if Finsler can get back into the throttle sooner as he drifts all the way up to the wall. And you're seeing your front 2 starting to pull away because everyone from 3rd on back, they're side by side and really hurting each other. A little bit of side drafting that could be bogging them down on speed.
Yeah, and Sam, just a really good run for the 33 of Stunnard. Now he's kind of pulling away a little bit, but The best you can do as a leader here at a track where the draft is so important is just mirror drive and see what the car behind you is doing, just to give them, I would say, as much dirty air as you can want them to have in the corners, and then just try to give them not as much draft as you want in the straights, so they can't catch up to you. You can't really pull away as a leader at a track with a draft package so strong, but as you mentioned, the front 2 to 3 pulling away because cars being side by side behind them and killing their speed. Really good for the leaders as they want to pull away, trying to kill the draft in the tow from the other cars behind. But right now, I mean, all mirror driving for the first and second spots.
Yeah, and I mean, mirror driving can help you for so much, especially when you can see those runs and where they're coming from. And also a factor to watch out for. We touched on the fact that some of the drivers have actually had to come into pit road during that first caution. A few other drivers have decided to, stay out and just save fuel under pacing. So that's going to be able to help them stretch about another 9 laps from where we're actually, they're going to stretch out another lap to a lap and a half, which we're expecting to see green flag pit stops here in the next 9 to 10 laps here. Exciting to see how the driver's going to be attacking this really close action racing, as half the field did not pit, the other half, some of them took fuel, some of them didn't. Justin Stundard came into pit road, but just went through his pit box, did not take any service. So, a lot of interesting calls. Can't wait to see how they come through as they're coming close.
Yeah, and it sounds like Justin Stundard had a 14 to 15 second stop on around lap 8, so it looks like he took 4 tires of fuel, and that's why you saw him charge to the front. Now as the leader over the 5 of Fensler, and he definitely made that bottom stick so much better than anybody else, and that's why he was so much quicker. Right now, the 5 of Fensler still trying to put on pressure, but right now it looks like Justin Stundard better on fuel and better on tires.
Be able to push it out a little bit further than everyone else, which with that pit stop could allow that of Stundard to make this a 1 pit stop under green if he could stretch it out far enough. But the rest of the field, them not coming to pit road, they're going to have to turn this. If this race stays green, 2 pit stops are in mind for them, as they only have 3 tires in pit road to work with. So Stundard already using one of his tires. Got to watch out for the rest of the field on some of the other drivers that took tires as well, and fuel. How well are they going to be able to attack, or are they still conserving for later on in the run when they can really start pushing it, knowing that they are going to have to pit later on? Side-by-side action here as that of Kevin Orlando Jr. being pressured by the 18 of Justice Murphy. Murphy just lingering around the left side of the quarter panel. Not really sure how well the inside's going to work now, especially with the tire wear and how hard it is to really carry that speed coming out of the corner, as Michael Leo Jr. contact being made, and also Johnson going to be sliding down, and oh boy, Michael Leo Jr. immediately having connection issues right after the contact with the 48. Ooh. Parker Johnson, after being contacted with Michael Leo Jr., goes to the inside wall. Michael Leo Jr., I don't know what happened to him, but he is gone immediately, it seems like, from the server. As here's your Freaky Fast broadcasting replay. You're going to see the 74 close to the outside wall. Gets spooked by the 18, comes down, wasn't clear, and contact made. As there goes the 48. Michael Leo Jr. makes contact with the wall, and then he'll just pop away, disappear.
Yeah, unfortunate for that 48 truck. Trying to stay in the back. I mean, not too much damage. Locked up the tires and thankfully just gave the wall a little bit of a love tap. Spun the truck around trying to get going again, but I mean, unfortunate for that 48. Gonna have a lot of front end damage from that contact of the wreck. Nothing he could really do there, and was kind of just a sitting duck.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things where I touched on it, where you have to trust your spotter when you're clear. And obviously in that moment, did not get the call that there was a driver below the 74 and ducked it low. And it looks like he has been kicked from the server. This driver is coming into pit road. I mean, tire-wise, this should work out for all those that are coming in. Questioning on the drivers fuel-wise on the timing of this caution if they can make one more stop and still make it to the end.
Yeah, I believe that this will still be, I mean, at least one more stop, Sam. And right now they're all pitting on lap 27. I believe everybody's going to be taking tires. I don't know about the 33 of Justin Sunnard, who took tires earlier on lap 8, maybe trying to save one more set. But everybody, yeah, looks like they took 4 tires. The 5 of Fencer are going to roll off in first, winning the race off pit road. The 33 going to fall all the way back to third. Yeah, I mean, it's still going to be at least one stop. As right now we're going to be pitting, or they pitted on lap 27. It looks like it's going to go green around lap 29 to 30. So the fuel window is probably going to open up around 63 to 70 for these trucks to come down pit road again.
Michael Leo Jr. is gone. We'll see if the 74 comes back into the session, as it looks like he had himself some patch losses on the internet, so the server decided, hey, it was unsafe for you to still be out there on course. We're going to remove you ourselves. Also an update for Eddie Wollermouth, that had a great qualifying time, was up in the lead, got a little bit of a tap from Finsler and brought out our first caution of the day. 81 machine is currently 9 laps down, but we'll get the lucky dog position. So, one more lap to be gained back to that of the 81, who, again, no fast repairs, still trying to repair that 81 truck.
Yeah, and getting all of that damage repaired is just so important for a track like this, where aerodynamicy is the crucial part of winning you a race here. And having just a slight bit of nose damage and having your car even a couple RPMs down can have lasting effect on the straights and be much easier to be able to pass. And as you see, the 81 just trying to get as much damage repaired as he can. Gonna still be around 9 laps down, but trying his best just to get all that damage fixed and be able to just still be able to race with this front pack right now.
Also looking like coming back into pit road is going to be that of Marshall Wilson and Scott Kerberg that decided to top off before we go green here. Just trying to solidify that they have enough fuel to turn this race into a one-stop, as it's going to be close for a lot of these drivers fuel-wise on if they can make this into one stop just because of the timing of this caution. But hey, it makes things a lot more dramatic on our end if this thing stays green and there is a concern about fuel.
Most definitely. And the race coming green here is going to be around 1/3 complete. As you can see, I mean, drivers almost coming up to their green flag stop. So it looks like this race is going to be a 2-stopper if the fuel mileage is around 30 miles on a tank. But right now, 2 cautions to help them out on fuel. Right now, a full tank, but it looks like we're going to be going green.
Base car is off, and it's time for us to go green once again. Finsler takes off like a rocket ship, and Kevin Orlando Jr. has to wait and linger on where he wants to place himself. And now a lot of discussions. It looks like there could have been some penalties being given out to some of the drivers on the back half of the field, such as Marshall Wilson and Scott Kerberg. So deliberation between those drivers, trying to make sure that they get those penalties clear before 3 laps are into this thing. And Jason Finsler and also Kevin Orlando Jr., great launches for themselves. But we saw on that last run, Justin Stunner took off with the fresh tires. Now a question of how does this 33 attack the front half of the field, being on equal footing, as started back in 10th place, but currently in 3rd, doing a great job side by side with Dylan Walterman.
Yeah, I mean, the 33 did such a good job on fresh tires, making his way up to the front. Not being too aggressive, patiently picking each position off and making his way up to eventually get past the 5 and take the lead. I believe that I would just do the same motions you did last time, just to be able to know what you did right and how your truck was so fast doing it. So falling back to 4th right now behind the 46, and it's just, I believe that you would just run the line that everyone in front of you is doing, or if you believe the line that you ran to get past the leader was much better, I believe you would just run at your own pace. But 3 wide right now, and the battle for 3rd place is still going on the front stretch.
Trevor Earhart going to be diving it down low, being that 25 truck all the way on the apron, now coming back up. Why not put on a show? This race is the Trevor Earhart Group 180. Get your name out there, show it off, as you are the title sponsor for tonight's race. And just like that, he showed off cats of speed, but didn't have the momentum after being so low with a poor and shallow entry. Kind of bogged down himself, as I'm not sure if really the inside lane is where you want to be putting yourself for a shot to make a pass this early into a run.
It definitely not. We can see some trucks around the 10th or 8th and 9th spot working together on the bottom. The 89 is trying to push the truck in front of him to be able to make that bottom work, but I mean, all those cars single file in line making that top roll is just so much better than those trucks trying to make the bottom work. The 27 Orlando Jr. trying to look low on the 5 of Fensler, but he just gets the run on the exit of the corner that he's unable to do it. The 33 now giving a look at the bottom. Looks like he's going to look low. The 27 Orlando Jr. trying to make the bottom work. Can he make it? Looks like he's going to the inside of the 5, trying to clear him, but I don't think he'll be able to. In the 5 and the 27 are now going to get the run on the exit of the corner.
Doing the slide job move. He's got to move up just a little bit more if he wants to block and defend, but right now, Stunnard understanding, hey, I just got to make sure we're equal. As long as we're equal footing entering this corner, we've got a shot. And now it's going to be Kevin Orlando Jr. helping out the 33 with the draft. Leaving Finsler all on his lonesome on the high side. We're wondering, will Justice Murphy follow the 5, give him some draft help? Not going to happen just yet. But Finsler, once again on the outside's got the momentum, but he was almost boxed in because he couldn't make the move, so he had to slow down. All that speed goes away as Justin Stunnard back up front, and Trevor Earhart, he's now up to 4th as the 25 trying to make the slate job move on the 18, but I don't think there's enough space as well there.
Yeah, this is pretty good racing right now. Drivers just trying to get as many spots as they can right now. The 33 back up to the front early in this run. We know now that the 33 is really good at a short run here, electing to run more on the bottom in both corners rather than the 5 of Fensler, who likes running almost right against the wall in 3 and 4. Interesting to see what the 33 is going to be electing, what line he's going to run later in the run, but right now that 33 really good in the short run.
Justin Stunnard, certainly, I mean, he showed off that he's got the speed when he's got fresh tires against old tires, so that 33 certainly knows how to utilize when he has to, but here on equal footing, also showing he's got the same amount of speed. Ian Baker, we're seeing here the 88, hard into the wall multiple times, back on lap number 3, and it has been a tall task for himself to rebound as that damage has really been hurting, tightening up the 88 that was already kind of feeling tight with the dirty air. Certainly still putting on a pretty good show for himself in 6th place. Also want to give note, Eddie Woldermouth not able and not willing to stay out there to try to lap himself as, oh no, Justice Murphy into the wall. The 18 that was having such a great run up in the top 5. He now drops and loses more ground. Almost exactly what we saw from Ian Baker earlier. Goes up in smoke for that of Murphy, and Murphy now back to 13th and the last car running currently.
Yeah, wow, what a change of events right there for the 18. Running up in the top 5 and just like that into the wall and now at the back of the pack. But right now we got a really big battle for the lead right now. The 5, the 27, and the 33 still not giving up those top 3 spots between each other, trying to get to the lead. The 27 of Orlando Jr. going to make that bottom work. Try to pull on the slide job of the 33. It looks like he's going to be able to do it. But the 33 still knocking on the door saying, no, sir, I'm still there. I still want the lead. The 5 patiently staying behind him. Still has the pressure behind him. From that, as we still got a battle side by side between the 33 and the 27 of Orlando Jr. Still hard racing between them, trying to have the lead. The 33 trying to make that bottom roll, but he just can't. 27 of Orlando Jr. going to get the run on the exit of the corner. He's going to get cleared. Door begging on the backstretch right now.
Gets loose, comes up, and just not enough space for both those drivers to run on the same spot on the course. And luckily, neither of them wrecked, but Finsler was licking his chops, thought that race up front was going to wreck out and give him first place once again. I mean, for Finsler, this has got to feel great if he starts seeing some of the toughest competitors so far this race already wrecking themselves out. I mean, Eddie Woldermouth got some contact from the 5, spun him around, took out and ruined his race. And now up front, in front of the 5, you've got that of Kevin Orlando Jr., Justin Stunnard. They're almost wrecking each other, battling for the lead, and then behind them in 4th place, just waiting and lingering for any mistakes to happen. It's Trevor Earhart.
Yeah, and Fensler just being so patient in this run right now, knowing that the 27 and the 33 are really pushing the short run, trying to have the clean air to their noses. Now the 5 of Fencer looking low in the 33. Looks like he's going to try to be able to make that pass going into 1 side by side right now. The 27 liking that view in his mirror right now, trying to get as far away as he can from that 5 truck, knowing that he was so good in the long run in this race. Now the 5 truck going all the way down almost to that yellow line, trying to make it work, but the 33 going to make that top run much better. Not going to be able to compete for that 5 spot, but right now, or the second spot right now, the 5 having much better tires than the 27 and the 33, making the bottom roll much better than than the 27 and the 33 in front of him.
As Hunter was looking up front, talking about the leaders in that amazing battle, Dylan Walterman did the exact same thing Justice Murphy did about 2 laps ago, getting into the wall, going through 3 and 4. Now the battle for the lead. It's going to be it's going to be that of Jason Finsler. Got to watch out as he's going to be going to the inside. And here comes Trevor Earhart. Think about the same exact move, but Stunnard kind of gave him a little bit of a block and a shimmy that costed time on both of those drivers as they continue to stay side by side. Up front, it's Jason Finsler.
Finsler just so much more conservative behind the 2 cars in front of him. We were battling for the lead that entire run. 27 of Orlando Jr. still looking in the bottom. Let's see if his tires can make it hold. It looks like he will. Will he pull off the slide job in front of the 5? The 5 is going to have so much better of an exit in the run on the straightaway. The 27 will clear him, but it looks like the 5 is going to get up to the bumper and see if he can make the pass. He's going to look low. What a battle right now for the lead.
Absolutely stunning to see. Still side by side, as that's going to be Jason Finsler just trying to stay low. Orlando Jr. goes all the way up to the 4th lane, hoping to find some speed on the backstretch as they come rocketing off. It just looks like Jason Finsler can get the momentum carried through the center of the corner so much better than the 27, but here comes that momentum on the exit of the backstretch. It's got to be Orlando Jr. trying to send it low. Driver to watch out for. Currently in 5th place, it's Marshall Wilson coming out of nowhere, who was about a 1.5 seconds back from 4th. He's now within 0.3 and now on the back bumper of our lead pack.
Tires can do you so much at a track if you take care of them, and they're very rewarding if you do. Right now, the 23 of Marshall Wilson, like you said, all the way from the back to now competing in the top 5. Oh, as we get a car going around.
No! Contact made, Stunnard into that of Earhart, and the 25 goes spinning.
Looks like the 33 and the 25 battling hard. Big checkup at the exit of the corner for the 25 of Earhart, 33 getting in the back of him, and it just all went from there.
Drivers that were up front, 3rd and 4th position, bringing out a caution number 3, as here's your Freaky Fast broadcasting replay. And you see there, the 25 just seems like he's already feeling a little bit loose, and I don't even know if there was really contact there. It looked like there was.
Yeah, I believe that he was just aero loose from the 33 being on his bumper, then the 33 getting freaked out from the 25 going around and setting up the track going into the wall. But as you mentioned, Sam, it looks just all aero.
I mean, he's already looking loose. He's turning it, trying to save it there, and see on the bumper cam if there's any type of contact. Yeah, just a little tap to finish off the job. But, I mean, he was already feeling loose in the center of the corner before that contact was even made. It just, Stunnard finished off the job and Stunnard into the outside of the wall, and I feel like Stunnard got the worst of it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the 25 of Earhart, I mean, all he had to do is just not hit into Earhart. I apologize. All he had to do is just not spin down into the wall. Only just a little bit more wear on his tires now, much hotter that he spun it. But as you mentioned, I mean, yeah, the 33 way more damage, a lot more aero, just a lot more aero damage to that 33 truck. The 27, apologize, the 25 definitely got the best end of that deal.
27 was a good call, though, as that of Kevin Orlando Jr. and Christopher Heights. They stay out. The rest of the field comes in, and here's the question: do you take tires or not? Because the timing of this caution, they cannot make it from here. It's just too far for fuel. But, oh boy, already seeing a lot of right sides going up, left sides now coming up. A lot of 4 tires being given from 3rd all the way back to 12th. Ooh, boy, this is going to get interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Jason Finsler, taking 4 tires and going to be able to win that race off of pit road. Yeah, halfway through the race, under caution is yeah, we'll take the halfway next time by. Oh man, I mean, yeah, I believe drivers are just gonna have to. They have one more set left in the pits for the 5 truck. Really, really good in the long run. I believe that he can take care of his tires. But right now, I mean, still one more stop if this race stays green from here on fuel. So it'll be interesting the strategy they pick. But I believe the 27 making an interesting call, staying out, knowing that he still is going to have to make it one stop on fuel. Maybe just going to try to have that undercut, hope it stays green, and have that lead over that 5 truck of Finsler.
Also that Christopher Heights doing the same strategy as Kevin Orlando Jr. So if you're going to have 2 drivers up front, and now the potential of wheel spin for our front runners, it's going to be a question to watch out for. With more tire wear, this restart could get a little tricky for them as more drivers into pit road. Looks like Scott Kerberg coming in as well as Trevor Earhart coming in as well for the 25. Feeling like they need to get some services done for themselves. Probably a little bit more damage repair for the 25 this time around. And overshoots his pit box, so could be losing a position to Scott Kerberg. But again, only 2 drivers have DNF'd out of this race. It was Michael Leo Jr. due to internet issues, and then Eddie Waldermouth after heavy contact into the inside wall after being tapped by Jason Finsler battling for the lead. The 81 is also out of this race, leaving us with a total of 13 drivers on course and 13 drivers on the lead lap.
Lights on the pace car are off, Sam. Going green this time by, what are you going to expect to see? What's going to go down on this restart?
I'm expecting Finsler to probably send it 3 wide, understanding he's got the better grip. If he can get down to the yellow line or even a groove higher, I'm expecting him to try to get this pass done as fast as possible, especially with that of Kevin Orlando Jr. going to be our starting driver. The 5's going to be trying to stay on that bumper right when they take off.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree. The 27 and the 21, much older tires. No way they're going to be able to compete with the grip of the 5 truck and competing trucks behind them, like the 88 of Baker. I mean, going to be very interesting. I believe the 5 truck is just going to go all the way down to that yellow line and try to get that pass made as quick as he can.
Well, it's time. It's the Earhart Group 180. We are green once again here at Michigan. We've already crowned our champion. That's the 5, Jason Finsler, for the Trucks Championship. It's now for the final 2 races here in Michigan, next week in Atlanta. Who's going to just get the pride of saying that they won the last 2 races of the season? It's going to be up front, Jason Finsler, already down the yellow line and already up to the lead. And don't look now, it's Ian Baker, another driver that we saw have woes earlier on. He's got the repairs fixed, and now he's making a charge and up to 3rd place.
Yeah, no, I mean, the 27 didn't have the 5 truck completely clear of him. He still had the outside groove of that 5 truck and had the run on exit, but the 27 kind of gave it to him. Now here comes the 88 of Baker trying to put the pressure on the 5 truck, looking on the inside, maybe trying to go to 1 and 2 to take the lead. It looks like he won't right now, but also keep in mind, maybe he's more of a long run truck, but also the 23, but the 88 going down to the bottom now. Oh, someone's loose.
Marshall gonna be going off course. Marshall Wilson able to save it, but man, what a save. And luckily, everyone else gave him plenty of space in this apron. Very massive for you to be able to save yourself once you get loose there. And now up front, it's going to be Justice Murphy. And now you got the 2 drivers that absolutely damaged themselves hitting the outside wall. They're now 2-3, trying to run down our leader, Jason Finsler.
An incredible save, 23 of Marshall Wilson. No damage whatsoever, only just got down to the apron and lost multiple positions. There's an effect of dirty air and still tires trying to get back up to temperature. Really good job of holding onto that truck though, but right now, I mean, just trucks trying to stay in line right now. You're not seeing the 27 the 27 and the 33 applying pressure because the 27 on old tires now just being passed by trucks now on newer tires on different strategies, but 33 is still back there as well, trying just to stay in that lead pack without being without falling behind, as you saw earlier, hard into the wall, losing all that aero, losing all the aero on that right front. now falling back towards the pack, trying to keep up in the draft.
Older tires starting to get hurt down to the 27. Kevin Orlando Jr. going to be stuck out there. Got to be careful, though, of the driver behind him. Dylan Walterman has already gotten into the outside wall as he's now trying to give a bump to the 27. And here comes the 25 and the 23, that of Trevor Earhart and also Marshall Wilson. Both of the drivers having issues as, oh boy, brake check mode right there as Dylan Walterman was not expecting the 27 to get on the brakes as he was just, Kevin Orlando Jr. just plowed through the center of the corner, had to back off, and that of the 46 just not aware of that circumstance happening and losing all ground all time. And now Walterman away from the draft from the lead pack.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, 27 of Orlando Jr. plowing tight, having to use the brakes in 3 and 4 because he just could not get that truck to turn the way he wanted to. I believe that was just, I believe that right now the 27 really wants a caution to come out so he can take tires, have that tire advantage over the entire field now, be able to make his way back up to the front. But right now it looks like the 27 isn't as happy as he would be on new tires.
Yeah, new tires would be so bliss right now. Other driver that stayed out, that's Christopher Heights. He's dropped back to 12th position and now waiting to be balanced by Justin Stunnard, who Stunnard, I believe, is on the same tire wear because I don't think he took tires, just went with a bunch of damage repairs because he only had 1 set left for the rest of the race, which he's saving for his final pit stop. Final pit stop for these drivers. I think we could say the drivers can go about 30 laps, so around lap 61 is around the time that these drivers can make their final pit stop. That's when the window opens up. Question is, who feels like risking it by pitting that early?
I feel like the best call to risk it that early is for the 27 of Orlando Jr. and cars following behind him who want to get up to the front and hope for a caution to come out. Right now, I mean, they don't have the speed to compete with the cars that have new tires right now. And same thing with the 27 of Orlando Jr. He does not have the fuel like they do, so less fuel in the truck, older tires makes the truck plow tight even more. So I think the 27, right as that window opens up for him, I think he's going to come down and try to get for Mr. Feelgoods, trying to get that truck to feel good again. But right now, the 88 of Baker applying the pressure still right on the bumper of Fensler, just trying to make the move when he can and when he wants to. But I believe he's also trying to save as much tire as he can, like the 5 has in the long run, in the last 2 runs we've had. But right now, the 88 looking low, trying to pass that 5 of Fensler, but just not having to run off the corner that he wants.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Baker, you got to remember, he does have that right side damage from hitting the wall. And a driver that made the best comeback after making a spill in 4th position. He's now back up to 5th. It's Marshall Wilson as he's been tagging along with Trevor Earhart. He's done a great job. He's now side by side with that of Justice Murphy and continuously just, it looks like if you're not able to make the pass on the corner that you commit to the inside, you got to make it on the next round or you're going to be stuck losing ground and burning up your tires. And right now, Wilson's got to be careful. He's got to make these passes quick because if he continues to stay low, those tires might not be there. As now it's side by side for the lead. It's going to be Ian Baker still with a hounding speed, but he has to drop back. Just didn't get the run that he wanted yet, but he knows he can set up the 5 if he needs to make a pass here in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, most definitely. And the 88 just, I mean, you could see he still has right front damage just slightly. Not looking like it's a really big effect on him, still being able to compete with that 5 of Fensler. But as you mentioned, he's got to be making this pass quick because going down on that track, using up a little bit more tire, trying to make a little bit more moves on that 5 truck of Fensler. But right now, it looks like he's just used up his right front a little bit more. Now not being able to get right up on the bumper of Fensler, and Fensler pulling away just a little bit, even on the straights over the 88 of Baker.
This front pack is now 8 cars deep, all still connected with the draft. Up front, really our top about 8-6, all on top of one another as Wilson continues to stay low. But just about a car length or 2 back is Matt Job, and then from Job another 3 is that of John Magner, who's just waiting and lingering. And I'm kind of a fan of where Job and Magner are. They're not in a position where they need to pressure or put themselves in any type of a danger. They can save those tires. So if this run does continue on, if drivers push it as far as they can go, they can be out there for another 18 laps or so which would be putting them around 74 laps, lap 74. So these drivers could go pretty far as the 48 gets into the wall. Parker Johnson absolutely clogs up the field and now going to be dropping back to 6th place. But that also put Justice Murphy close to the outside wall, losing time. And oh boy, is that shooken up our whole entire top 6.
Yeah, and Sam, this is very interesting. I'm not seeing this many drivers get into the wall this much at Michigan. Very interesting. I mean, it's very risky to get the best run through the corner and on exit to carry the most speed you want right up on that wall, but some drivers getting tight from the dirty air or using up a little bit too much tire in that run and getting into the wall. Now losing his spots from the 48 all the way from 4th back to 10th and 5 seconds behind the leader now from clipping the wall.
I mean, this is such an interesting race. I mean, usually when I'm watching Michigan races, they're running about a groove higher from that yellow line, and we're seeing everyone running about 3-4 lanes high, almost directly on the wall at times, and it's just so odd to be seeing these lanes because it just puts such a risk to put yourself in that outside wall if you make any type of mistake. And we've already seen it multiple times, drivers having issues with that outside wall, but still side by side, it's going to be Eddie Baker and Marshall Wilson just continuing to stay close. And Ian Baker, I mean, he's doing great for himself. I got to give credit also to Trevor Earhart. He was part of an incident that brought out a yellow, and he's done a great job rebounding up to 2nd. One driver you could touch on who hasn't really had any mistakes really this race, that's our leader right now of Jason Finsler. The only mistake you could say was him spinning out Eddie Waltermouth.
Yeah, and I mean, almost a picture-perfect day for Finsler, staying in the clean air as long as he's wanted to. Rather than that incident with Waltermouth, I mean, just a really good day for him. But like you said, very, very impressive for the 25 of Earhart being spun not too long ago, making his way all the way back up there. But I believe also those fresh tires are helping him out. Really good in the short run for him. But right now, oh, it's the 88 of Baker now into the wall.
Everyone's just risking the outside, and the wall is not your friend. Baker goes dropping back to 9th and might lose even more than that, as that was a very long time for him grinding against the wall, shearing off that right side, and more damage. Going to be needing a pit stop to get back into this thing, and another one bites the dust up front, leaving us with a total of what was 8 drivers in this lead pack. And where the draft was, we're now down to 5 drivers that are in draft close proximity to one another. Then you have to drop back about 8/10 where you'll find that of the 46 and the 15, who are just a little bit too far from the draft of our front 5. So they're going to be losing time. And this is just bizarre to see how these drivers have all been having issues up front. And still, we wait for whenever Kevin Orlando Jr. and also Christopher Heights come into the pits, because that window is open for drivers coming into pit road.
That window is open, but like you said, I mean, just I know the 5 offenser is looking in his mirror and smiling, seeing all these drivers competing for the lead and putting pressure on him. Now going against that wall in 3 and 4 and scraping against it and losing all of that time again. As you said, the pit window is now open for fuel and tires. It's gonna be interesting to see what type of strategies these drivers take. I mean, the 27 of Orlando Jr. I bet will be down pit road with these next couple of laps, trying to take those tires and fuel, having that undercut and hoping the caution comes out when he takes the lead, if that cycles through like the way he wanted it to. But right now, I mean, the 5 of Earhart, or the 5 of Finsler having the pressure of the 25 of Earhart still on him, only about a 10th back, less than a car length back, almost half a car length, and to right to his bumper. But also the 23 of Wilson, the 89 of Job also applying pressure as well. I mean, just a 4-way battle for the lead, all bumper to bumper to bumper right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now, of our top 5, 3 of them have come away with wins. That's your top 3. Finsler, total of 12 coming into this race. And then you've also got that of Trevor Earhart with 1 win at Coda earlier in late in the regular season, but a couple of weeks ago. Marshall Wilson also winning the last Talladega race we were at. And then you've got that of Matt Job, Justice Murphy. Job still looking for his 2nd top 5 this season. Murphy looking for his 4th top 5 this season, but certainly you could sense that both the 89 and the 18 have a lot of speed under themselves. It's throwing out the patient card, I gotta say, for Matt Job. who's just waiting. We've already seen Murphy get up into that outside wall. I'm wondering if he's going to get into it again, because it just seems like 18 seems a lot tighter through the center of the corner, and he's putting a lot of pressure on his tires to run low because he doesn't want to risk getting into the wall.
Yeah, the risk is just so tough no matter where you are at the track right now. Running it low will definitely hurt the right front a little bit more, but it also keeps the fear of the wall a little bit more farther away. But, you know, driving in the clean air is also really good for the help the truck turn so much better in the center of the corner, and to be able to apex the corner like the way you want to. So, I mean, it's win and lose right now for that truck. I mean, he's gonna lose the exit speed on the straights, but the draft will be able to keep it up with him, but also gaining a little bit more time the way he wanted to in the center of the corner. But I mean, Sam, we see some cars coming down right now taking 4 tires and fuel. As you said, the pit window opened up. Let's see how this is gonna cycle out.
Leading the charge was Christopher Heights about a lap ago, and then it was Ian Baker. Now coming in, it's going to be Parker Johnson. Still waiting for when Kevin Orlando Jr. is going to be coming into pits, but another driver has parked it for the day. That's Justin Stunnard, who just could not stay out there any longer. He was getting extremely loose, and now we're down to 12 drivers that are still running out there on course. It just continues to dwindle away. We only started with 15, but up front, it's going to be that of Marshall Wilson still defending himself. So is Trevor Earhart from that of Matt Job, who Matt Job, he's just been waiting. Got to be careful of that outside wall, as it looks like he almost scraped it. But man, I got to be wondering, where does Matt Job place himself if really the 3 cars in front of him continue to stay so close to one another? That's not allowed the 89 with a slide job move here.
You know, and that's the thing. I think Job is just going to play the patient game as much as he can. He knows that these leaders aren't going to pull away. I think he's just saying, let them get right up against that wall. Let them scrape it. Let them fall back. I'm going to pass them. I want the lead. But right now, just playing that patient game, trying to see what the leaders are doing, and just seeing what he can do. But like you said, Sam, I mean, he's not right up against the wall like the 5 and the 25 are. But right now, the 23 of Wilson right in front of him looks like he's tighter in the center of the corner. And I think that's really good of what the 89 of Job wants to see, to be able to pass him later in this run.
Up front, still hard battling going on, but into pit road is going to be John Magner as well as Kevin Orlando Jr. So that's leaving us with 7 drivers still to pit to make their final pit stop. But if they're planning on stretching it as far as they can go for another 7 more laps. I mean, 7 more laps for themselves, or even push it for another 6 to anywhere from 6 to probably 9 laps is the longest they can go for themselves. As you see here, Ian Baker, fresh tires, easily cruising by the rest of the field, but I don't like the fact that he's going all the way down the yellow line. That is a good way to burn off your tires early when he's got to be the one to stretch out the tires the longest.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a gamble on tires, and it's just I don't really just know how to say it. Some drivers really hard in the short run, way easier in the middle run, just to be able to just cool down the tires because they know they burned it up a little bit. But right now, as you see, 89 of Job now looking low in the 23 of Wilson, knowing that he was quicker on exit and in the center of the corner. But I don't know if that 89 is going to make the bottom stick, and he won't. But also just has so much better turn than that 23 does.
Yeah, Marshall, got to remember, he did go sliding, had amazing save when last time we had a restart. He went back from 10th place up to 3rd. He's done a great job, but you could sense the tire wear is starting to show late in this run, as now Matt Job just waiting for his chance to strike. And then in front of them, you've got that of Jason Finsler, Trevor Earhart. They continue to stay nose to tail. They're not really showing anyone their cards currently. But man, I mean, it's a waiting game. Who's going to be coming to the pits next? Well, it's going to be Justice Murphy, the 18, who got close to the outside wall, still has some right side damage. He's going to get that repaired for himself. And man, is this going to be a tough toll for some of the drivers that are pitting this early, because our leaders, our top 5, they can still stretch it out for another 5 more laps. And 5 extra laps of fresh rubber is so massive, and you can easily gain up on the drivers that have already pitted.
That definitely is for sure, but the drivers who now came down taken their 4 fresh sets now are going to gain so much more time and so much faster lap times than the drivers who are staying out, like Fensler, Earhart, Job, and Wilson right now, who are battling for the lead, which is losing even more time. But like you said, 5 laps of fresh tires is so big of a difference at a track like this. But also, the time you lose is so hard to make up, especially if they stay out 5 more laps, 4 more laps. Only having 16 to 15 laps to be able to catch them. Who knows how large the gap will be after they pit, and if they pit under green. If this race stays green, we might see a caution, but who knows? I mean, it's a gamble to stay out longer, but also you'll have fresher tires than the leaders in front of you.
Marshall Wilson just had to get cut away. It was 4 wide, and the 23 had to back out because he was coming into pit road. From the top 4, the 23 of Marshall Wilson comes into pit lane, and oh boy, leaving us with 4 drivers that still need to pit. That's Jason Finsler, your leader. Trevor Earhart, who now goes to the inside, trying to make a pass here late in this run. Then you got Matt Job, who's about 3 cars back. As you see, lap traffic, fresh tires. They're going to have to figure out a cut their way through our leaders as it's around 3 wide. As that of Walterman trying to figure out how to get by the leaders. It's going to be Murphy going down low, and that of Magner as well. You hate this as a leader because you're trying to battle for the lead, but also trying to make sure you don't get caught up in a wreck.
This is crazy right now. Lap cars just trying to get their lap back as best as they can and as quick as they can. Right now, screwing up the leaders a little bit. I mean, the 25 of Earhart looking low, trying to get around Finsler, staying patient that whole time, and then lap traffic coming around, trying to get their lap back, kind of messing them up a little bit. The 25 now trying to stay back a little bit, stay more patient, try to go around the 5 of Finsler like he was earlier, but keep in mind that 89 of Job now around a second and a half back, now catching the 25 and the 5 right now, running a little bit quicker times right now, trying to get that lead before he pits.
Lap traffic certainly put a big old question mark on if our leaders were going to be put in trouble, and they were. A lot of danger, and now Matt Job sensing that he could get up front, but Matt Job deciding it's now to come into pit road for himself. As our leaders, they have pushed it probably as far as they can go, expecting that of Finsler and Earhart to come into the pits here shortly. But Earhart, last time that there was a caution, came in topped off a lap later, so he can go a lap further than that of Jason Finsler.
Yeah, and Finsler now going over the radio right now. I believe he's saying he's coming down pit road. I mean, definitely stretching out as far as he can. Yeah, the 5 of Finsler coming down pit road this time by. It looks like the 25 of Earhart is not going to follow him. And
no,
yeah,
this is a great call.
I believe, yeah. I mean, definitely stretching it as much as he can on fuel. Not going to have much time to catch up to the leaders as he wants. But right now, Trevor Earhart, yeah, now coming over the radio saying he's going to pit this time. But very interesting calls for the 5 and the 25.
As Trevor Earhart going to be staying out for an extra lap, trying to get that 1 lap of extra tire wear, which is massive at a 2-mile course where tire wear is one of the biggest factors. And, you know, with that being about 15 laps to go when coming into the pits, Trevor Earhart has plenty of time to come back and gain all that time back, because the only real difference between the times that they were putting down before and when they're by themselves, only about 1.5 seconds, where I think that time can be gained for the 25. If he can get a clean pit stop, can't make any mistakes, this is your money stop for himself. And staying out an extra lap than everyone else is going to be Scott Kerberg, who's banking on a caution to come out soon so he can be up front and making sure that he's got the freshest tires. But this call for the 14, very risky, but why not send it if you know that your season and championship runs are now out and snuffed?
Yeah, the 14 of Kerberg, not really mentioned anything much about him today. Just staying out as much as he can on the fuel run. This is what we usually see in green flag pit stops, just hoping on a caution to stay as the leader. Having the whole field pretty much a lap down. Just trying to stay out as much as you can on the field run as he's still staying out. Really banking on a caution right now. I mean, very interesting strategy for the 14. Yeah, why not? I mean, it'll be interesting to see what lap he's going to come down, and if he does come down soon, I mean, I believe he's banking on a caution, and if not, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what he's going to do, or maybe he can make it and he pitted a while ago.
When the pit cycle went all the way through, Jason Finsler was able to be out in front of Trevor Earhart by just about 2/10 when he came into pit road. Staying out an extra lap was Trevor Earhart, and right now he is pretty far back. He's got a lot of work to do. Over a second and a half is the 25. Didn't have the best pit stop for himself. And he's going to spin it around. The 25, Trevor Earhart, bringing out the yellow. Scott Kerberg, who just came into pit road. Oh, boy.
Wow.
No one has any tires left. It's going to be Scott Kerberg with the best tires here at the end.
And he's going to go through his stall. As long as he can go through pit road, come out as the leader, it looks like he is going to be the leader under this caution, and he will be. Unbelievable. Wow, Scott Kerberg, very lucky, pushing it to the farthest he could. Is going to look out for him. That's incredible. 13 laps to go. He's going to lose the lead, but now he's going to have the freshest set of tires over everybody for a large amount of laps. So very, very, very lucky for that 14 to Scott Kerberg.
Well, not expecting really the rest of the field to come to pit road. Might be seeing Marshall Wilson as well as Trevor Earhart into pit road. Both of them decided on this pit stop to go with a 2-tire strategy, which obviously shown 2 tires was not the best call here, especially with it being over 5 laps to run. 2 tires is a really bold call to make here at Michigan.
Yeah, most definitely. And not only that, I only see drivers take 2 tires if it's a final restart for drivers just trying to get a win on a green and white checkered. I never see that for a green flag stop. That's a very, very interesting call. Scott Kerberg not going down. Very, very, very interesting. But yeah, I mean, I've never seen drivers take right side tires only with still around 25 to 30 laps to go in a run.
Scott Kerberg has to come in this next time by, or he will not be allowed to pit again because pit road will close for himself. This is a gutsy call for himself as there are no lap cars, so that could have been his one and only shot to come into pit road. Scott Kerberg could have shot himself in the foot with that mistake.
Very, very interesting call. I mean, in the mindset of the 14 of Kerberg, smart move not going into his stall under caution and running through it to be able to keep the lead, but not coming down and taking tires is a very interesting call, knowing that you're not going to make it on fuel. You still have to pit one more time, and you're going to have fresher tires than anybody. I would expect to see the 14 of Scott Kerberg come down this time, and if he doesn't, that's a very, very interesting call that I wouldn't see, but yeah, I mean,
oh man. Well, a very odd call from Scott Kerberg again. We're hoping that he can come into pit road now, and also a question to see if Marshall Wilson or Trevor Earhart's going to be coming in to possibly use their last 2 sets of tires. Or drivers might be thinking, we saw a lot of early cautions once everyone was stacked up. We could be seeing cautions once again on this upcoming restart, as when we go green, it's going to be less than 10 laps to go. Scott Kerberg still on track as he's coming into pit road. Okay, that was a scary thought that the 14 was going to come in, and here comes other drivers following suit. It's going to be Kevin Orlando Jr., Marshall Wilson, Heights, Johnston, and also Earhart, all coming in for themselves. Not surprised the second half of the field coming into pit road currently get some service done for themselves.
Oh, most definitely. And I was freaked out for a second there. I thought the 14 was going to stay out there, but he did make that left turn down into pit road. Seeing that right side jack up on the car. Now coming down, looks like he's going to take 4 tires and gas. Really, really, really fortunate strategy for this 14 truck. I mean, he's going to be... I mean, yeah, he's going to have the freshest tires by a while. I mean, he can push it.
He's not the only one, though. There's a lot of drivers that have tires as well. As taking their last 2 sets is going to be Marshall Wilson and Trevor Earhart, and then also taking 4 tires behind him, going to be Kevin Orlando Jr., Scott Kerberg, both of those drivers taking service, and Christopher Heights. So 3 drivers have 4 fresh tires, and oh boy, this is going to get interesting because Finsler, it is a 5-lap difference on his fresh tires compared to those that just came in.
Yeah, and these drivers on the new tires are just gonna, I mean, they're gonna fly through the field. 5-lap difference at Michigan is so important, and it's so much bigger of an advantage. I mean, these 3 trucks, I believe, with only 10 laps to go in the restart, 10-9 or 10 to 9 laps to go, gonna be very interesting to see how hard they're gonna push it and how fast they're gonna make it, try to make their way up to the lead.
Race control is going to be pushing this caution out an extra lap because the drivers that pitted did it a lap later than what they usually do. So it kind of clogged everyone away from each other. And now we're going to group them back up and get ready to go again. It's going to be 9 laps to go when we go green. Well, Hunter, we got to see a great first 80 laps here. I mean, what are some of your thoughts before we go green for the final sprint of today's race?
Oh, I bet. I mean, I'm definitely going to see drivers on new tires fly their way through the field. I'm going to look out for that 5 truck of Fensler. Really good in the long run, also, but he's still in a short run truck right now. Only about 4 or 5 laps on those tires on a green flag run, but he was really good in the short run as well. I believe he's going to be making some moves, trying to make it 3 wide on this restart. But also, do not count out those 3 drivers on fresh tires.
Drivers will watch out for, trying to get their first top 5 this season. That's going to be John Magner, Scott Kerberg, both of them looking for their first top 5. John Magner currently in 6th place, Kerberg in 10th, but with fresh tires. So a lot of drama could be filling up for these drivers that are looking for some of their best finishes of the year. And what a way to get it done when the final, coming up to the final couple of races of the season. You got here tonight. 9 laps to go and we go green to finish out tonight. And then our last race of the season's next week at Atlanta. And oh boy, we already know Jason Finsler won the championship, and now it's time to see who's going to be winning here at Michigan. Drama's on the line, but green flag out in the air as Dylan Walterman takes off like a rocket ship. It's going to be Ian Baker, as well as Jason Finsler and Justice Murphy, your top 4. Matt Job just waiting and lingering as they're 3 wide for 2nd place.
3 wide on back. The 46 of Walterman really liking this, knowing that he's now clear, but here comes the 5. Right on the bumper, Walterman. Walterman going to do some blocking action, but it looks like the 5 of Finsler is going to try to make as many moves as he wants. Already down to the inside of him, trying to look for the lead going into 3 and 4. Keep in mind, 14 to Scott Kerberg on fresh tires. I would expect to see him coming to the field pretty quick as well. Same thing with the 15 of Magner, already up to 6th place.
John Magner going to be on some of the oldest tires on the field, and that's why we're going to be seeing some 3 wide action currently for that of 6th place. Magner is going to be worrying about the 2 tires of that of Wilson as well as Earhart and Kevin Orlando Jr. He's got 4 freshies, but he certainly has not got the space to make the passes just yet. He's got to be just patient here. I know it looks like the laps are taking away too quick, but you've got enough fresh tires that you can cut away through the field in front of you with ease. You just got to wait for your timing. As that of Kevin Orlando Jr., he hasn't been the most known for being patient, but he's going to need that here as we're coming up to 7 laps to go. As here comes that of the 89 with fresh tires, just like Jason Finsler. They're on equal footing between the 89 and the 5.
89 of Job was applying the pressure through all these past runs of the 5 of Finsler, trying to get clear of Walterman, but the Walterman's still going to stay side by side with him, battling with the 89 of Job. I believe that 89 of Job is just going to want to 3 wide right now for 2nd for a glimpse of time right there. I mean, only... Oh, man, this is... It's so crazy right now. The 18 now applying pressure to the 89. The 5 really liking this in this mirror. Car's now down below the white line on the apron, trying to get as many spots as they can. The 27 of Orlando on fresh tires right now. Only right sides, but flying through the field. Almost up to 2nd already, trying to catch that 5 of Finsler with only 7 to go.
Kevin Orlando Jr., of all the drivers that took 4 tires, he's the only one that's cut his way through the field, and now up to 3rd. Contact going to be made. Justice Murphy absolutely riddled, as well as Trevor Earhart, as caution flies, and this could be putting us inside of a window of a green-white checkered under regulation.
That was an unbelievably hard hit for the 18 truck on his lid after a very, very hard impact. Oh, I didn't see what really went down there.
Marshall Wilson, just a little bit of a nick on the quarter panel of that of Trevor Earhart, and it launched Earhart into the outside, and Justice Murphy got to feel what it's like to be a tosser, being tossed around, and you see the contact just wobbling and nowhere to go. And here comes the 25 into Murphy, and you're driving straight. And next thing you know, you're into the outside wall going for a flip. Hopefully, you're not motion sickness isn't kicking in, because here we go. Spinning and flipping is that of the 18.
Man, oh, what an impact for that 18 truck. Had nothing to do, just had the contact inside of him, having the truck slide up into him and setting him into the wall. Not the way that 18 truck wanted his race to end, and unfortunate for him. I mean, had a really good race throughout, got in some trouble early in the race, but unfortunately gonna put the truck behind the wall before this race is over.
And Justice Murphy going to be just sitting in there. No fast repairs, so he'll have to take the damage. And this is worst case scenario for Jason Finsler in the 5, because Kevin Orlando Jr., freshest tires of everyone on track, now going to be sitting in 3rd place. And now this is a question for Finsler. Does he switch lanes? Does he want to go on the high side and give Walterman a chance here, which could give Matt Job a little bit of a slowdown? I mean, there's a lot of choices here, as Murphy is now parked at DNF'd, going to the garage. We're left with 11 drivers on track. Questions for what's going on with Scott Kerberg. It just seems like there might be some damage on the 14 that's causing him not to able to utilize the 4 fresh tires. Same thing for Christopher Heights, who Heights has gotten into the wall and other contacts. So the 21 and the 14 not able to utilize the 4 fresh tires. That's why they have been just staying back in 8th and 9th place.
Yeah, and oh man, I don't know what's gonna go down in this restart. The 27 of Orlando Jr. on the inside of the 5 truck. The freshest tires, I believe, for him, about 5 laps fresher than the 5 of Fensler. I believe he's gonna apply the pressure as much as he can for this Greenway checkered. He's only got 2 laps to do it. Fensler, pretty much a dominant truck today in Michigan. Really, really good day for him, but 27 of Orlando Jr. trying to spoil that party and take that win away from him.
Our top 3 is certainly going to be a treat to see, as right now, I mean, looking at some of the fresh tires, Finsler's been out there for 12 laps on this set. Joe's been out there for 13. 7 laps freshest with 4 tires is Kevin Orlando Jr. in 3rd place. Dylan Walterman with some of the oldest tires in our top 5, 18-lap old tires. Marshall Wilson, he's been out there for 7 laps since the last time he pit, but 17 laps since he got his other set. He went with a weird split decision on his tires, so the 23 hasn't been able to make his way forward as quick as Orlando Jr., but certainly does have the pace to try to run and possibly get a top 3 finish for himself. Then you got Ian Baker back in 6th place. The 88 machine has gotten into the wall so many times. Can't believe he's still racing. John Magner, he's got old tires as well, both for that of Baker and Magner. They're both over 20 laps of old tires, so not expecting them to really have a choice up front on where they're going except for backwards. But oh boy, are the lights still on? Or are they off?
I believe the lights of the pace car are off. Yeah, they're too wide.
They're off.
They are off.
Okay, well, inside the regulation is a green-white checkered. Trevor Earhart now going to be parking it, so our final 10 drivers, they're the ones left on the track. If you're up front and you're still running, you got a top 5, got a top 10. Now who's going to get a top 5 for themselves? John Magner, Scott Kerberg, still the only drivers, those that are running currently, that have not gotten a top 5 finish this season. They're hoping to get it either this week or next week. You don't want a big 0 in that marker, as you kind of are hoping that you could say, hey, at least I ran well enough for a couple of these races this season.
Yeah, and the 5 truck of Finster electing to take the top line. Gonna use it a lot, utilize that line. He's been running all race right up against the wall. The 89 is now gonna have the 27 of Orlando Jr., who's on the freshest tires right behind him. Let's see how aggressive the 27 is gonna take it, and let's see how aggressive the 5 truck's gonna be on the high line.
Well, it's time for the Earhart Group 180 to find ourselves a finale on who's going to get this thing done. As it's going to be green flag out in the air. Jason Finsler got a great launch for himself. And I talked about how he might be thinking about the outside to try to block that of Kevin Orlando Jr. Did that exact thing. The 27, he's boxed in, can't move high, but he'll drop low. Going underneath Job, hopefully here with the 4 fresh tires. Certainly looking good for Kevin Orlando Jr. as they come out at 2.
Orlando Jr. is not going to get the round of the corner, but he's going to try to stick with that 89 to Job. Right now, the 5 is going to really like this in his mirror, trying to get as much draft away from the 89 as he can. Right now, the 89 and the 27 applying the pressure to the 5, though. Here comes the 27 looking low, trying to take the lead as they're going to come up to the white flag this time by.
It was all about building up the speed. It takes a while for the 27 to be at full speed, but he's finally got it side by side for the lead. It's going to be that of Kevin Orlando Jr., Jason Finsler as they come across the line. It's Finsler that time with the 27, the 4 fresh tires. He can stay low and carry the speed as now they're side by side for second place. Job's got nowhere to go. Orlando Jr., he stays suit, but it's going to be Finsler coming down with the block, pinching the 27, and now Finsler, a great defensive move for himself. He's got to pick and choose, but here comes the last try for Kevin Orlando Jr. on the backstretch. Matt Job has done the pass. It's now going to be side-by-side, almost 3 wide for the lead. Here comes Kevin Orlando Jr. He's on this side-by-side. They're touching, they're rubbing. Kevin Orlando Jr., he's got the run, but will the 5 have the run coming out of the corner? They're still side-by-side. Finsler, by a nose, will get it done.
Wow, that was a photo finish right there. Unbelievable. Kevin Orlando Jr. just not getting the run out of the corner that he wanted. Finsler, a great way to get the exit on the corner he wanted, trying to pinch the 27 down a little bit, but able to get the run and the exit on the corner and just beat him by, oh man, just the nose of a truck.
Yeah, I mean, what a run. You knew the outside was going to get that final push coming close to the end of the coming to the start-finish line. It was a drag race. Kevin Orlando Jr. did everything in his power, but I think really the move there had to be when Matt Job was able to get in front of Kevin Orlando Jr. on the backstretch, coming into 3 on the white flag. That was the move that really set Orlando Jr. back, where it was kind of a little bit too far out of the 27's reach, but he certainly put in the best effort that he could. Here's Jason Finsler getting to burn it down, but we'll be back in just a few to talk with that of Jason Finsler, Kevin Orlando Jr., and Matt Job. And man, what a way to finish out this season. Win number 13 goes to that of Jason Finsler. I mean, what a season this driver has had, and continues on to show off why he is our Trucks Championship winner here for the Underdog Racing League. He clinched it when he showed up and just took the green, but what a statement here tonight. Well, this race finished out in a very amazing drag race between Jason Finsler and Kevin Orlando Jr., and another win tagged on for Jason Finsler, number 13 this season for the Underdog Racing League, a Truck Series champion. Clinched it when he just started, But we have two other drivers to talk to before we talk to the 5 machine. We're going to be bringing in third place runner Matt Jobe up into the booth, and good to see the 89 up in the top 5 again. Matt, it's Sam up in the booth. You got me?
I got you, Sam. How you doing?
Oh man, the drama here late. We thought maybe this race was going to end under green with those late green flag pit stops, but then a late caution came out and it made things very dramatic. Matt, for yourself, with those final 2 laps, what was rolling through your mind when you knew you had to try to hold off the 27 and trying to stay in the top 3?
Yeah, that last caution hurt a little bit because I was set up pretty good. I don't know if I would have beaten Jason, but yeah, that last caution, I saw some guys dip in for tires, and I was out of tires, so I had to stay out. So yeah, I knew Kevin had about 5 lap newer tires, and didn't know if I'd be able to hold him off, but happy with third.
I mean, Matt, it's been a great, season for yourself. We were always cheering on for you to finally get your first top 5 and now getting to talk to you in a top 3 position. I mean, how has it been throughout this season trying to get better week after week?
Yeah, I'm glad I finally get to talk to you guys. I didn't know if I'd get to this year, but yeah, it was kind of crazy. I had like, I don't know, 12 or 13 top 10s and no top 5s. And I'm not even sure how that happens. I finished 6th like 4 times, I think. So yeah, no, I just feel like I've been getting better every week, and finishing up closer. And it helped that some of the big guns weren't here tonight, like Loveland and Professor. But no, yeah, I feel like I'm getting better, can run with them a little better each week.
Well, you certainly showed some speed here today. Well, we go to Atlanta to finish off the season. How are you trying to prepare for that race?
Uh, Working on saving tires, I think is the thing in Atlanta. So saving tires and kind of similar to this race, just try to stay up front and see how cautions fall, and see what happens.
Well, Matt, again, a great run here today, a top 3 finish. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
No, I just want to say good job to you guys all season. Watched every race, and very entertaining. And hopefully you guys will be back for us next season.
Well, Matt, congratulations again and good luck next week.
Thanks a lot.
And we got Kevin Orlando Jr. Second place, came out drag racing against Jason Finsler. Not able to win it, but certainly put in his best effort. Kevin, it's Sam up in the booth. You knew you was inside the regulation green, white, checkered. Was there anything else you could have done there in those last 2 laps?
I don't think there was much anything else I could have done there. We had a great run at the end there on a really risky strategy, but I had to try something, and it worked out. And I have no idea what to say. I'm still a little, a little bit wound up from the race. That was some really great racing at the end there. I got to thank Jason and everyone running up front for being able to race as hard as we do, and actually push it all out. And I got to thank my unofficial crew chief, who knows who he is. I'm not going to name him, for a little bit of that advice on that weird strategy play that worked out for me. So
Yeah, I mean, talking on strategy, this was such an awkward race. A lot of the cautions coming out at not the optimal times, which threw out some drivers to try something different. Was it throwing you off that the cautions were coming out at such weird moments during the race?
Uh, yes and no. I mean, it was throwing me off at first. The fact that that green flag cycle went all the way through really helped me out, because if we would have got a caution at that point before that cycled all the way through, it would have made the strategy absolutely useless. So
Yeah, I mean, having that extra set certainly helped. I mean, we've been seeing Jason win week in and week out. Well, I mean, we've been saying it in the booth. It seems like you kind of have to wreck the guy if you want to win. Was there any thoughts in your mind to maybe give a little bit of a bump to ruffle the feathers of the 5 coming through 3 and 4?
I mean, I thought about it coming out of 4. I was like, hey, maybe if I just move up the track and push him out towards the wall, I'll be able to get a better run, a little bit of side draft going on. But that's not how he races me, so I didn't want to race him that way. So I decided to take the inside the short line and just see what kind of run we could get. And we were just shy. We almost had it, so it was at least worth a shot.
Oh, it was amazing to watch from our point of view, and just a little bit short. We'll go to Atlanta next week. Can't wait to see how you attack that course. But before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
I can't think of really anyone else other than what I mentioned. Just another big shout out again to the league, all the admins, Justin, them for hosting this and letting us race this way week in and week out. It's just such a blast.
It's Kevin Orlando Jr. coming out with the second place finish for the 27. And good luck next week, Kevin.
All right, thank you.
And now we bring in Jason Finsler, and what a race it was. He had to come and show off and defend some drivers that had fresher tires. But Jason, we were notified when you hit the green and you started the race, you are officially the Underdog Racing League Truck Series champion. I mean, now with today, 13 wins for yourself, 21 top 10s, 21 top 5s, 22 top 10s. What a season you've had, utter dominance from yourself and a drag race to win this one.
Yeah, thank you very much. First off, you know, a lot of effort went into running this deal. It's the first time I've ever ran a league, and had a lot of fun. Learned a lot, and the guys definitely are getting a lot faster, that's for sure. But yeah, it was a heck of a finish for sure.
I mean, Jason, you saw that it was going to be a green and white checkered. Did you know that Kevin had the 4 fresh tires and just had the fresher rubber behind you? And was that the call made? Was that the decision for you to go on the high side?
Well, honestly, I didn't know what everybody had for tires because, you know, we had that long green and people were pitting, so I couldn't really keep track of how new their tires were. So I just took the top thinking I could get a better arc in a turn 1 without dogging the truck down and slowing it down a little bit. So I just thought that was my best option.
Well, it certainly was a good option, and I know you didn't know it, but it certainly was a great way to stall out the 27, so we couldn't get the better run there. Well, we go to our final race of the season, Atlanta next week. We know that you're quick those 1.5 miles. How are you feeling about it?
It should be a good one. There'll be a lot of comers and goers for sure. Tires will be very crucial there. So we'll just see what we got and see if we can finish out the season.
Well, Jason, I know it's been a great season for yourself. Again, championship winner. But before we let you go, you got some shout outs to say.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, my dad, he had some surgery yesterday. He's at home recovering. So, and a big happy Father's Day to him for this Sunday and all the fathers out there. My son, Chase, he's probably tuning in and watching. So big shout out to him. Couple more years, maybe he'll be on here turning some laps. So just appreciate everybody tuning in and appreciate you guys for the broadcast.
As Jason Finsler, again, your Underdog Racing League Truck Series champion now, and he gets to make a parade lap and hopefully a parade win going to Atlanta next week. Congratulations on your win here tonight, and good luck next week.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, Hunter, I know you stepped in. Thanks for stepping in for Zach, but you got to see these guys race. I know it's a smaller field than most, but certainly drama at the end.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, that was really, really good, hard racing at the end there, all battling for that top 5 spots and even for the win. I mean, excuse me, Orlando Jr. Just a really, really great race and great strategy for taking those tires. Just fell very, 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 very short of that race win. Only 17,000, so getting that win over the dominant driver of Finsler, but very, very good racing throughout. A lot of carnage from drivers getting into the wall, spitting out and wrecking altogether. I mean, but overall, really, really good race.
Absolutely. Here's your final results. Jason Finsler by 17 hundredths of a second and by a nose, beating out that of Kevin Orlando Jr., Matt Job, Christopher Heights, and then Dylan Walterman, your top 5. With that of Ian Baker, John Magner, Parker Johnson, Scott Kerberg, your top 9. And throwing in 10th place is Marshall Wilson. A lot of drama coming out of turn 4 for some of those drivers further back. And those drivers that were not able to finish out this race, falling to the damage without being Trevor Earhart, Justice Murphy, Justin Stunnard, Michael Leo Jr., and Eddie Wildermouth. And a big thanks to Dennis Steele for covering in the race control position. Well, that was something. That was a drag race. That was amazing. And I know that a lot of the drivers have been losing car counts because they all understood Finsler has won the championship. And now it's all about racing for honor, racing for pride. And here tonight, Jason Finsler beating out that of Kevin Orlando Jr. A great race here. Congratulations to Finsler on the championship win. Thanks again for Hunter for being up to the booth with me. And now we throw it up to Robert Moyer to finish out the call.
All right. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Great action-packed racing, man. Yeah, like you said there, Sam, man, it was a drag race to the end and fun. Yeah, it might have been a small field, but you know what? It wasn't no small action here at Michigan International Speedway. One of my favorite tracks to watch, and it can come down to fuel mileage, tire strategy, and we've seen it all, except for the fuel mileage, but we basically seen it all. It was a drag race, and congratulations to Jason of wrapping up the championship here, having just one dominant season. And as he noted in his interview, this is the first time ever running in a league for this guy too. So he's learning as he goes. So I think we need to get him out in some other leagues, Sam and Hunter. What do you think? Maybe we can pull him and get him in some other leagues?
Ooh, I mean, there's some leagues that would be a blast to see how Finsler would compete with maybe our Saturday night leagues, maybe some of our Monday night or even Sunday night leagues.
No, I agree. Even Thursday night. Speaking of Thursday night, we will have Hunter and Sam calling some action tomorrow night with Stars and Stripes at Kansas at 9:30 Eastern when we go live for them, gentlemen. Last week, they packed a 40-car field with the Xfinity cars. So we'll see how many people come out and show up at Kansas and see that action-packed racing tomorrow night. But if you enjoyed this content here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, please help us get to that 1K subscriber on YouTube and make sure you hit that bell and subscribe to us if you're new here at Freaky Fast, or if you have been tuning in for the past couple weeks, months, and you haven't did that yet, we do much appreciate it. But all right, well, gentlemen, we're going to pack up our stuff here at Michigan. We're going to head off to Kansas, and we'll catch everybody tomorrow night. Until then, we want to say God bless everybody. We love you all. Peace out.